Welcome, fellow human beings, to Addiction Abuse Recovery Podcast. I'm Matt Logan, founder of Matt Logan Speaks. What we try to do at Matt Logan Speaks is just bring you positivity. It's kind of a positivity channel. And one of the ways that we do that, we want to just highlight and celebrate people's recovery on this podcast. Recovery from abuse, recovery from addiction. So please help me welcome your host, Sherry Irvin.
Hi everyone, with me today I have special guest Todd Wilker. Todd is a man living in long-term recovery. He has over 32 years of clean time. He has shared his experience, strength, and hope with many men throughout the program. Todd is currently not working right now. He does have his hands full taking care of his elderly parents. And I know for a fact that is hard. I mean, especially in the situation that we're in today, taking care of our elders, and keeping them safe and keeping them out of the nursing homes and whatnot. I also know that you have a huge love of woodworking. I've had the opportunity of being able to see some of the skills that you have done. I've seen a lot of the beautiful woodwork that you've posted as well, but if you could share with us, I know that you have gone through some addiction problems, and if you could share where your bottom was and what drove you to that bottom, and how you got out of it, and where you're going today.
Okay, I started drinking back when I was about 13 years old, and as time progressed into high school, drugs became a good part of my addiction. And as time went by and got out of school, my addiction to drinking and doing cocaine got very out of hand. And in 1988, in October, I took and I had my last bout with my alcohol and cocaine abuse, and almost killed 3 of my friends who were in a vehicle with me. So I decided to go to treatment, and I went to Mayo Clinic's first outpatient program back then, and did nine months of outpatient, and started with Alcoholics Anonymous right away. And as time went through there, I did a lot of meetings at that time, and really struggled through my first year, and found out that I had a sponsor right away in Alcoholics Anonymous. And I found out about 8 months into being sober that I was battling my obsession to use, and was ready to go back out. And I met with my sponsor one Friday evening, and we all talk about recovery and what happens and how the miracle happens for us. And I was with my sponsor on a Friday night, and I told him where I was at, and what he had shared with me was to get on my knees and ask God to remove my obsession to use. And fortunately, I did what I was told to do, and my life changed that evening. I haven't had a desire to go back there, and 32 years is a long time for a guy like me. But I do share my experience with guys new in program, and try to let them know that a person like myself, if I can get sober, I think anybody can. And my life has been involved in recovery with Alcoholics Anonymous, doing 3-4 meetings a week. And unfortunately now, with the present situation we've got, been able to do some of the online meetings. And some friends of mine started online meeting out in Ohio, and we've got like 23,000 people on there. And so I've been able to do meetings right directly with online, which has been a godsend. I've heard of many people that are having relapses in this time, and fortunately, we have the online internet to work with. So life is good today. Both of my parents are over 30 years in recovery, and today I do what I can to take care of them. They're getting elderly, and life is good. Life is good.
I do know that what you've shared with me in the past is that, which so many of us do, is that the anxiety can get to be a lot. And it does. I mean, it feels like you're having that panic attack, the heart attack feeling, the feeling of doom, dread. And so many people do experience that. And I know especially with today's environment, we're sequestered. We're used to going to those meetings. That's our fellowship. And now we're kind of regulated to a Zoom room or a chat room. And I know for myself that a chat room just isn't for me. I like that face-to-face kind of, personable type feeling. So how are you handling your anxiety? I mean...
It's a challenge today, with just not being able to connect with people, as you said. It's very difficult not to be able to do a one-on-one or speak directly with somebody like we're doing today. But I find myself just getting out and walking, getting fresh air, and doing the things that I can do to just help calm myself down, and then keep myself away from the media. There's so much crazy stuff happening, as we know, and the less I know, the better off I feel, to be honest. So, but yeah, it's a challenge for many people. I seen an interview last night of on the news of a gentleman that runs Recovery's Happening, and
Mr. Volts.
Mr.
Yes.
Volts.
Yes.
And he did a great job, but he shared how recovery is very difficult without one-on-one contact, and the struggles that they're having in trying to help people today. It's just crazy how our world's changed in a few short months. But I still reach out and try to help out who I can. My sponsor always instilled in me that, you can't keep it if you don't give it away. And I need to share that experience with people to let them know that recovery's possible. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. So,
yeah, and I think too with the pandemic that we're going through, it's getting harder for people to go to, especially with going to the meeting. Somebody that's newer into sobriety, they need that fellowship. I know that when I was brand new into sobriety, as scary as it was to walk into that room, I still needed that room. I did 90 and 90, the suggested. Hell, I did even more than 90 because I was afraid. But I knew for that hour that I was safe. And now we have it too where there's a big scare. What Tim was talking about is that, or that Tim had shared with me later, is that, once the unemployment runs out, Even though alcohol is legal, there's not going to be that money to buy it. And, and we're looking at even more people that are going to be going through withdrawal and the depression. And, as well as I do, in our recovery world, we've lost quite a few of them just to suicide by overdose. The numbers are rising. And that scares me. I mean, that really scares me. So, how do you go? I mean, some of the meetings are opening up a little bit, but with social distancing. So, do you get to attend many of those? And
I've been able to attend a couple of them that are held at noon, and some of that has changed. But we still do the social distancing in those meetings, and it's just a whole different realm of how we're doing things, as we all know, and I hope that soon can change, because this is a big deal for people, not just with addiction, but with depression and what's going on. There's a lot of people taking their lives, and this thing is affecting, I think, everyone. As much as we don't want to think so, it is. Everyone that I speak to has something to say of what's going on, because everybody's life has changed. And I understand that without having the support of the people we need around us, some bad things are happening. And it's sad. I've lost many friends to suicide, and it's a sad situation. But we just have to keep the faith that things are going to work out, and that's all that we have.
So when you're dealing with so how do you deal with your depression? Because I know that you're also prone to that. Do you feel comfortable reaching out? Because I'm finding that a lot, even when you're in the walls of Bill W., it's one of the hardest things to do is to reach out and ask for somebody for help. So often they want you to think that you want your people to think that, yep, I got it together. I'm doing great, and because honestly, you don't think that people really want to hear your garbage. And I know that, that does no good either. And the whole premise of AA and all the other groups, NA, all those are, it's a we program. It's not an I program, it's a we program. We need each other's support. So with not being able to get to a lot of meetings, and the one thing that was great about Rochester is, we have over 130 some meetings in a day, and now we can't get to those. So what are you doing, even though you have so much clean time under you? How do you reach out when you're having a bad moment?
I just have those close friends around me that understand and know me quite well. And there's just a handful of those people that I'm able to call and talk to and reach out to. Family. Family's a big deal for me. I have support with my parents, and as I said today, I'm doing things to help them, and because of their elder age, and but for me, it's just keeping in contact with the people that I know well, and staying out of my own head. It's very. My sponsor always shared with me. He said that your mind's like a bad neighborhood. You don't dare go there alone, and it's so true. Isolating and stuff is very easy to do in today's situation. So I have to keep myself out front and keep connected.
So what are you doing today to kind of pay forward, to the people that so freely gave this program to you? What are you doing now, despite the situation that we're in, to, to help out, to, obviously it's hard because, we are more sequestered into our homes, but, how are you seeing yourself helping other people that helped you?
What I've been sharing with people the online meetings that I've been involved in, and I get people asking me people are asking, how do I get connected? And, just trying to use those simple resources. And I have a couple younger guys that I work with that are new in sobriety, and we try to have a daily contact, which helps me very much. But just trying to do what I can to share my experience in the situation is like I say, it's not like it used to be, and hopefully that sooner or later we can all get connected.
Have your sponsees found that helpful, though?
Yes.
Okay.
And they've been able to get online
Okay.
and do some of the virtual meetings that we're doing, and try to share whatever resources I know to help them out, and helping them helps me out too. So,
Because I know for a fact that there's so many, there are many people, especially in the younger crowd, that a lot of them are coming up homeless. They don't have access to a Zoom room, or they don't have that internet access, or they don't have the cell phone, and they're in dire straits, and have you, and I know that you've also in the past have dealt with a lot of them that have relapsed. And I know that when I first had sponsees, dealing with relapse was hard. I kind of took it upon myself that, where did I go? Where did I go wrong? Where did I fail them? What could I have done better to, help them? Yeah, I mean, and how did you deal with that when you've had?
I recently had a situation with a gentleman that was living with me, and finding out that spending 30-some years in the military is suffering severely with PTSD. And I didn't know these things at the beginning, and I've been trying to work with him, but he just went through treatment, got out, and relapsed immediately. And right now I don't even know where he's at. It's hard to separate the disease from the person, even though I've been sober as long as I have. A lot of emotions have come into play with this person and myself. I've had feelings of anger, resentment, all sorts of negative emotions, watching this person just fall into his addiction again. And this has happened several times, and there's a whole nother level to self-medicating, and that is what I believe he is doing, like we all do in addiction, is just to self-medicate ourselves. And for him, in what he shared with me, is just trying to get out of his own mind. He can't. You can't get away from your own mind, and drinking and eating pills and doing these things that he's been doing just brings him to a place where he ends up in the hospital. It's sad, and there's a part of that I'm powerless over other people. I'm powerless over myself and my addiction. And sometimes dealing with my own addiction is just enough, let alone somebody else's. And the fear of that I've experienced with this person, the fear of finding him dead is real, because that's where he's going when he isolates himself, and a lot of anxiety comes from that for me. And so I have to be really careful of what I do and how I handle with somebody that's using, because it's trying for me.
Yeah, because we've been given, with going through the program, we've been given the toolbox of what we need to arm ourselves. And, and when that starts to become a problem, the first thing they tell you is it's kind of like when you're in an airplane, and you're losing power, and you're going to go down. You're going to save yourself first. I mean, that's how it is. You need to save yourself. You're going to grab that oxygen for you before because you're no good to anybody else if you're not fit. If you're not spiritually fit, you're not utilizing what you have. Because even for myself, I need to hang on to my sobriety at all costs. I need to be vigilant of it every single day. And even with the amount of time that I have under me, and even with the amount of time that you have under you, it's still one day at a time for us.
Absolutely.
One day at a time. And I can't predict tomorrow. I can only predict what my day is going to be today. And by the grace of God, I've had the opportunity to have a lot of yesterdays, and hopefully I will have a lot of tomorrows.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's hard, but you're right. I mean, sometimes when you were saying that you had to go through this with this gentleman over and over, there comes a time where it's too toxic, and you need to look at you.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
it's very trying. I mean, and I, we can only do so much for another addict, and there's just so many emotions involved. The anger and even some resentment in that, and but really for me, I look at the other person as I did myself, as being very sick.
yes.
And there is only so much that we can do for another person. And professional help is necessary. It was for me. I pray that this person gets the help that he needs. Because for us, the only alternative is to die. The reality is to die. So, staying my distance and like you say, just not getting too wrapped up in someone else's stuff is really critical, because I can't jeopardize my sobriety. And to me, sobriety is just like you said, one day at a time. It's a good thing that I've had several years of it, but I have to deal with each day. Because I lost a friend early in recovery that was 20 years sober, and he drank and he died. And the scariest part of this addiction is that it never goes away, and that if we choose to pick up that drink, I've seen it happen with others, and you go back to where you were immediately, no matter how much time you have. It's so baffling and powerful. It's unbelievable how that happens, and that if we pick up that drink, we'll be right back to where we were, whatever length of time we have. So,
Well, we have a disease that's insidious, and it lies in wait for us at any time, and it can take us. It doesn't discriminate. It knows no social, economical. You can be rich, poor, black, white, Indian, native, whatever. I mean, it doesn't care what you are.
right.
And we need to hold on to that. And yes, we need to be very, very hyper vigilant of what we do, and we need to take care of ourselves first, and that is first and foremost. So, where do you see Todd in the future? I mean, hopefully, when we get back to maybe a happy normal again, what plans do you have for yourself?
I actually, a little over a year ago, I took the certification for being a peer recovery specialist. I have not taken the final exam, but I've been talking with Tim Boltz, and the need for people like us as recovery specialists is there. So I think for me, being that I've went that far with the course of this, and the idea of being able to do a job that can help me stay sober on a daily basis, is something that I'm looking seriously at, and to get my final certification and try to move forward with that, because I presently am unemployed because of what's happening, working in the travel industry, and the sounds of that coming back are very vague right now. So I do have that I can no longer procrastinate about, and try to go ahead and move forward with that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with me. I know that we are, like I said, we're in that sandwich community where we need to, our parents took care of us, so now we need to go and take care of them. And yes, I wish you all the luck. I'm with you as well. I need to take my final exam as well. So, but yes, thank you so much for sharing this stuff with us.
Appreciate it.
And good luck to your future endeavors. And hopefully they will start opening up more and more meetings, so that all of us can reconnect again. I look forward to that day.
Yeah.
Yes, good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast of Addiction Abuse Recovery, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm sure you did, as I did. I want you to know that if you want to follow along, just go ahead and hit subscribe on YouTube and Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Apple Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Just search out Matt Logan Speaks. We have all kinds of great content for you. Hit the notifications button so that when something new comes up, you're the first to know. Have a great day.